Mr. President, throughout the history of the United States of America, we have had a remarkable alliance with the nation of France. It bears remembering and repeating that the French stood by our side when America was fighting for its independence from Great Britain. The French were honored in many ways for that alliance and that help, including, as I recall, a portrait of the Marquis de Lafayette, which hangs in the U.S. House of Representatives this day. That wasn't the only time by any means that the French have stood with us and we have stood by their side. It happened during World War I, World War II, and many times after. Through the NATO alliance and in many other ways, we have worked with the people of France for common goals and common purpose. That is why we are so saddened this morning to learn the news that was reported that masked gunmen shouting Allahu Akbar stormed the Paris offices of a satirical newspaper Wednesday, killing 12 people before escaping. It was France's deadliest terror attack in at least 2 decades. With a manhunt on, French President François Hollande called the attack on Charlie Hebdo Weekly a terrorist attack without a doubt. He said several other terrorist attacks have been thwarted in France in recent weeks. France raised its security alert to the highest level and reinforced protective measures at houses of worship, stores, media offices, and transportation. Top government officials in France were holding emergency meetings, and President Hollande planned a nationally televised address this evening. Schools closed their doors. World leaders, including President Obama, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, condemned the attack, but supporters of the militant Islamic State instead celebrated the slayings as a well-deserved revenge against the nation of France. Mr. President, this event in Paris recalls to mind what we lived through not that long ago, when the United States on September 11th, 2001, was attacked by terrorists and more than 3,000 innocent Americans lost their lives in New York, in Washington, and on the countryside of Pennsylvania. Many of us recall that at that moment, that sad, awful moment, that people around the world rallied to stand with the United States in our grief and in our determination for justice. We particularly remember that the people of France did that, and they spoke out in one voice, saying that they were going to be by our side in this battle against terrorism. I think it is appropriate today that we follow suit, that we join in that same spirit. À cet moment tragique, nous sommes tous Parisiens, nous sommes tous Français. Let us all work together to not only bring justice to this horrible situation, this attack on free press in France, but let us also work together to bring an end to terrorism in our time. We can work with our allies and friends in France to achieve that goal.